So, how does a tree know that it's spring? That, my friend, is a very good question. My name is Rob, and welcome to Leave Curious. In today's episode, we are going to be exploring the idea of how a tree can know when it's spring. And then we'll also be taking a look at some of the changes that a tree goes through during the spring. At this time of year, the Earth is orbiting the Sun and it's getting closer, which gives us the season of spring. Right now in the Northern Hemisphere, planet Earth is tilting towards that beautiful big sun. And plants and vegetation on Earth, they know that this is happening too. The trees have evolved to the very predictable patterns that are the seasons. But how exactly does a tree know when it's spring? Well, first, let's take a look at what happens to a tree during the winter. The winter is the hardest time of year for the tree. And it knows this too, so it shuts down all of its internal functions and goes into a dormant phase. However, even during this dormant phase, there is one molecule within the tree that is on the lookout. And that molecule is known as phytochrome. Think of phytochrome as like an hourglass filled with sand, which sets in motion during the nighttime of the tree. And if the sand is still pouring when the sun comes up, then the tree knows that it's spring. Phytochromes are a class of photoreceptors, which means they can essentially just detect the light. And it's often thought that the changes in temperature is what triggers the tree to know that it's spring, but really, it's all about exposure to the light. Because you know, some days in winter, they can be like abnormally warm. You can have record high temperatures in January, and trees don't think that's spring. They don't just start blooming out and coming out then. I reckon what a tree does is they say, yeah, all right, it's getting a bit warmer, but they say the days aren't long enough yet, so I'm going back to bed. So that's how a tree knows that it's spring, with help from the phytochrome molecule and just year upon year of evolution with the seasons. That's a Lombardy poplar, by the way. Lombardy poplar, it's a great name to say. What's actually going on with the tree? What's happening within the tree? Well, the tree is going through a great change of energy. It's been dormant for such a long time, and now it's putting all of its energy into opening its buds. It's just a little bit too early for some of these trees, but if you look, you might begin to see them swelling. The buds, that is, not the whole tree themselves. If the whole tree started to swell, then I'd be a little bit... In fact, I would be curious about that, but... As well as seeing the buds open, we will see the trees begin to flower, and we'll see the beautiful blossoms, and we'll see the lovely catkins which we associate with the spring, and soon after that the pollinating insects will come and do their work. Although they look amazing, a tree's flowers are only there to reproduce. There's a Lombardy poplar again. So if it's springtime where you are, or if it's nearly springtime where you are, make sure that you get out there and you experience it, because it's one of my favourite seasons. It's very fleeting, but it's one of the most beautiful. Thanks for watching. Leave Curious.